for the past decade, I've been investigating the program.
How far back does this go?
It was the boys' side that planned the riot.
We were just talking about a riot, and it actually ended up happening.
Welcome down the rabbit hole, friends. For a long time, there have been allegations of riots occurring at the academy at Ivy Ridge, but it's always been difficult to confirm the details or frequency of these incidents.
If you didn't go along with the program, they had ways of breaking you. Physical restraints, solitary confinement, food deprivation.
The thing about you, Quinton, is you never tried to work your program.
No.
But now, in the docuseries The Program, firsthand information is being brought forth by Catherine and a former student named Quinton.
You were level 1, the entire time?
8 months, yes. I never made level 2. It's hard to comply with something that you know is wrong.
Quinton only attended the program for a total of 8 months before he was expelled from the school for inciting a riot among the students.
Here's some footage of Quinton being restrained. That happened to him a lot.
Many former students have reported experiencing horrific conditions and abuse at this facility, including mental, physical, and sexual abuse. But never before have we seen it all caught on tape as we do in Netflix The Program.
Milk for 2 weeks straight in this room. For 2 weeks. Hold on, excuse me.
Yeah, no, take your time.
You're on a chair, your ass had to be an inch on the chair. Like you had to be on the forward, your feet together, knees fist length apart, and you had to stare at the fucking wall. And a lot of us couldn't handle it. So we'd start slouching in this, and they'd point at a brick. Which brick did I just point at? I don't know. And there's another 2 hours, 2 hours.
Quinton describes what can only be called torture. Children placed in stress positions for hours at a time, monitored by adults, and punished repeatedly for the smallest of infractions.
Wow.
I'm shaking.
So, we've got a bunch of young kids brought to this facility, many because they are dealing with psychological issues such as depression, anxiety, drug abuse, the recent breakup of a family, and they are being immediately thrown into a facility that requires utter obedience, heavily restricts their interactions with others, and limits their ability to express themselves in healthy ways. Then, the program punishes them for not being able to live up to the expectations even very healthy children and adults would have trouble living up to, essentially setting them up for failure. The laws of psychology tell us that these kinds of conditions will lead up to a boiling point, and that's when Quinton describes the riot that got him expelled from Ivy Ridge.
And I came out here and I just started popping light bulbs. These were all light bulbs. I just popped it.
Quinton is one of the kids that couldn't even make it past the initial first level of the program. He was constantly in punishment, given additional work, and never exposed to seeing any light at the end of the tunnel. I guess you could say Quinton's time at Ivy Ridge was a real waste for himself, his family, and the school, and it ended with a big bang.
And I started hearing windows breaking left and right. And I just remember going come on, let's go.
According to Quinton, he was in fact a leader of the major riot that occurred during Catherine's time at Ivy Ridge. The boys' side broke out of the boys' barracks fairly easily, with only a few staff blocking the path, and they made their way downstairs. Meanwhile, the girls' side heard the alarms, but remained oblivious to what was going on.
I figured if we destroyed all the computers and everything, it would be done. So the original plan was to go down there and fuck shit up.
Quinton had a plan to bring Ivy Ridge down, but it was derailed by the saddest situation.
But everybody beeline through here.
Why did you do that?
Because they're hungry.
Quinton's plan for the riot was completely derailed by the hunger all of the kids were feeling deep down in their stomachs.
Everybody's ripping pots and pans off the shit, just trashing the kitchen. I'm like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And like, there's nobody behind me.
Quinton describes most of the children beelining away from the computer room and any of the exits towards the kitchen to grab food.
Because they're all in the kitchen. And then we all get put into the gymnasium.
Finally, some of the adults herd everyone into the gymnasium, but they're unable to control the kids, who start screaming and moshing in mosh pit style, refusing to give in.
You got the police and the fucking border patrol outside and everybody ready to shut us down. They threw a smoke bomb in here. I remember that because that's when they started escorting us outside.
It was pretty serious. Several of the kids were taken to the local police station and charges were filed.
12 students were charged with rioting, assault, and disorderly conduct.
The teenage students are being held here in the county jail on $5,000 cash bail.
And honestly, that's how several of the kids were able to get the hell out of Ivy Ridge. Quinton himself describes it like this.
Is jail in comparison to the program?
Like a 5-star Hilton hotel.
Many of us might think, well, I'm sure that after the riot, the school must have suffered some kind of consequences, and it was likely shut down, right? No, of course not. Ivy Ridge remained open following this riot, and not only that, but Ivy Ridge became a holding school for other behavioral youth programs that were getting shut down across the nation.
You were hoping would shut down Ivy Ridge.
Yes. But I was wrong.
Spokesman Todd Nichols says the school will be reviewing the latest incident and looking at procedures to prevent a similar occurrence in the future.
It's as though the riot only made them stronger. The academy at Ivy Ridge stayed open after these riots because the legal and regulatory response was inadequate. There were several factors that contributed to the school's ability to remain open despite all of these horrible allegations. At the time, there was a serious lack of oversight and regulation in the troubled teen industry as a whole. The school and its faculty also showed a keen ability to avoid or minimize consequence for its actions.
I was writing a series of articles for United Press on this, interviewing witnesses, but the program did their best to keep, the truth of what was going on there from getting out.
As early as 2004, journalists were writing about the abuses and allegations of what was going on at Ivy Ridge, and still there was no movement to shut the school down.
We use a level program that enables the kids to see where they've been misled and get rewarded for good behavior or consequented for bad behavior.
Catherine's docuseries exposes corruption at all levels of the system in place at Ivy Ridge.
Jason Finlinson was the director of Ivy Ridge, and he's also an idiot.
Jason Finlinson was the director of the academy.
Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about black holes.
And he was known for his strict and disciplinarian approach to running the program.
Write a complete sentence to save his life. When a parent emailed him concerned about the quality of education at Ivy Ridge, he replied, "All of our teachers are New York State certified."
And many former students have accused him of being abusive and neglectful. Finlinson has denied any wrongdoing and has maintained that he was simply trying to help the students in his care.
All of the therapists are certified as well. I'm sure that response was reassuring.
However, most recently he was fired from his job at a construction company in Utah after the release of the docuseries. which brought renewed attention to the abuses that took place at Ivy Ridge.
Jason had hired his little brother, Jake Finlinson, to be the head of academics at Ivy Ridge. But even Jake said, students are not here for academics, but to work on themselves and their families.
Now we can look back and see that this is a tragic example of how vulnerable children and families can fall victim to exploitative and abusive institutions in times of desperation. Despite the multiple investigations and reports of abuse, this school was able to continue to operate for several years until it was finally shut down in 2009. Join me again tomorrow as we move into episode 2 of the program and divulge more secrets of what was going on behind the scenes at this school.